Hey guys, it's Quad from the IWR show. Baseball playoffs are coming up. It's a great season, great time of year. It means fall's coming, and so I decided to do a little prediction show. But there's so much going on in baseball right now. I decided to call in a little recruitment. I called a couple people, and nobody really helped. I called Jman from the IWR show, and he gradually volunteered to help me. So glad you could join me today.
No problem.
Let's start off with what happened yesterday on game 162 on everybody's schedule. The last day of a lot of teams. I didn't see it. I'm the biggest baseball fan you know, and I had to work this morning, so I'm going to let J-Man cover this.
Yeah, it was amazing. I got to watch it all live. First off, just wanting to watch the Cardinals game, see how they did. Just got out to that huge lead in the first. So I'm like, all right, this game's over, so let's just worry about the Braves game. Let's go flip it over there. Just seeing their downfall from all of September is it's amazing to see them and Boston, their downfall, that amazing. We thought it was crazy with, our situation with the Cardinals and, the Braves, all this. It was even crazier in the AL with the Rays and with Boston. It was amazing to see that comeback from 7 runs down from the Rays, them come all the way back up, Boston losing their lead after the rain delay, losing 4-3. It was just ridiculous. Just to all come down to one game. When everybody says there's no more drama in baseball, there's no drama this season, well, that was the appetizer to the playoffs coming up right now, so this should be just crazy stuff.
Everyone talking about steroids taking over baseball. If you look at the games last night, there's a lot of Cardinals had a high-scoring game, and then they had a lot of games just coming down to the wire. We had, I think Cardinals was the biggest blowout of the game.
Yeah.
8-0, and a 2-hitter by Carpenter, and that's just because Carpenter is a fucking beast. He beast-moded it. He just...
When you need a game the most, that's why you have Carpenter out there. He's my favorite pitcher in the world. He is the guy that when you go out there, he is the most intense pitcher you could possibly throw out there.
Let's say that for the Cardinals series.
That's true. We'll get to that.
We'll get to that. So hold on your Red Sox.
Yeah, there you
go. Let's start in the American League. I don't know why, but it just seems first of all the alphabet. We'll start with the A's. We're gonna go with the Detroit Tigers versus New York Yankees. The Tigers are just I'm picking the Tigers to win this. They have Verlander, who's starting game 1, so they're going to start off on a good streak because he's a beast mode, and then Valverde's 49 for 49, closing out. It's just fucking beast mode. Me using beast mode a lot.
That's the word of the day.
They have Miguel Cabrera. They have Victor Martinez. They have Miguel Ordonez in that right field. He doesn't do much.
Alex
Oliva. Jackson in center, just a beast. It's going to be one of those series, all these series are either going to be pitching duel or they're just going to come down to hitting.
No.
This is what baseball is either rock and sock pitching or rock and sock batting. Yeah. So I'm going to pick Tigers to win this.
Yeah, I definitely see the first game probably going to the Tigers. Verlander's just ridiculous. The best pitcher in the world, in my opinion. I know everybody talks about Holiday. He's just untouchable. His fastball can go over 100 miles an hour, and then he'll throw you a freaking 76-mile-an-hour curveball. You'll just fall over and die because you just have no chance. But I have the Yankees winning overall. I just think the power that they possess, I think after the first game they can come back and really, get it going. I know A-Rod hasn't been playing great as of late, with all the injuries and stuff he's been going on, which really pisses me off because I'm a big Alex Rodriguez fan. But, A-Rod, kind of not banged up. You still got Jeter. It's playoffs, and that's where Jeter shines the most. With everything that's going on with Curtis Granderson, two of the best young talents there with Curtis Granderson and Robinson Cano in baseball. Mark Teixeira is just a powerhouse, had the grand slam last night, 2 home runs. So I just see the power of, the Yankees carrying them on as they have in the past. And you got CC and Verlander should be a great matchup in game 1.
It's going to be a slower knocker, I'm feeling. Second series in this American League is Tampa Bay Rays versus the Texas Rangers. I'm picking the Rays to win this. This would BJ updated after last night with Dan Johnson, guys batting below 200. Somehow pulling I guess a blind cat can find a mouse every once in a while. Just hits a home run. I thought they were joking when I heard this. Remember, I didn't see it, so I had to listen to the radio back in the old days. They have Evan Longoria. They have Ben Zobrist, who's literally the Jose Oquendo of today's time, can play any position, so he can hit. He can still hit. So, and then they have some
BJ Upton,
like I said, they have David Price. They have Jennings in the outfield. They have James Shields, who's a fucking awesome pitcher. It's just it's one of those teams where it's a bunch of, I guess you can't really say no names, but they're a bunch of guys that you're just like, oh, look at that guy, look at that guy, look at that guy, who's that? That's one of the great things about baseball night and following baseball throughout the season. I'm not a bandwagoner. I followed baseball from actually January, whenever I picked up my first fantasy magazine.
Yeah.
And I followed it throughout till now, and I'll probably follow it until January next year, and then I'll get my new magazine and start all over, because that's what I do, so...
Yeah, it's crazy just to go back, like we said, with the Rays getting in here to the playoffs. They have so much momentum off that win last night and going in here with the Rangers. Rangers really playoff-tested team going to the World Series last year against the Giants. I got the Rangers in this series. I know that they got some studs at the beginning of the rotation with C.J. Wilson also there, but also on the other side with the Rays, they got some studs on the rotation too with James Shields and David Price, but they didn't have the advantage of setting up their rotation into the playoffs with this run that they had at the end of the season. But I got the Rangers. Too much power they got there. Josh Hamilton, Nelson Cruz, Michael Young. There's so much talent on that team. Neftali Feliz at the end of the game is just really a shutdown closer, really good stuff. But I got the Rangers moving on to the LCS.
Nah, it's just. Like I said, these series, all four of them...
They're tough to pick, that's sure, yeah.
If you try to sit down and look at stats really are nothing now because
gut feeling,
everything gets washed away because it's playoff time.
Yeah, there's no stats that could explain last night. You can't throw stats out for that.
Nobody can explain what's going to happen in the future.
Exactly.
And if you can, call me because I need you for Vegas points.
8-ball or something.
Magic 8-ball. Yeah. Good old Magic 8-ball. Let's go to the National League. Let's go to the Arizona Diamondbacks versus the Milwaukee Brewers. I'm going to go with the Diamondbacks. Like we just said, it's hard to pick these series, but the Diamondbacks, they're like Buster Posey's injury just knocked him down. Like me and Jman were talking before this, it knocked him out, knocked the Giants out. So there's really no team to win that. And then the Diamondbacks have Justin Upton, they have Aaron Hill, they have Chris Young. Go Chris Young. They have Ian Kennedy. They have J.J. Poone's closing out. And then they have Jason Marquis, who's on the DL, but he's still a veteran presence to help these young guys. Because Marquis has been so many playoffs, and then their coach is Kirk Gibson, or the manager is Kirk Gibson, so you really can't go wrong with the experience and help these young guys not to get their heads too big. So I'm picking the Diamondbacks to win this in 5.
Yeah, I would love to pick the Diamondbacks in the series. I love their great young thing. As he said, we were talking about with the Giants really got hurt by the Buster Posey injury. Really, you could just tell how important he is to that team. But Diamondbacks getting their great young team here. I would love to see them take on the Brewers and just take them out because we, as being from St. Louis, we cannot stand the Brewers. They're the new Cubs to us because the Cubs suck right now. So right now, that's the rivalry we really care about as the Brewers. But I have to pick the Brewers in this. They got solid pitching, nothing really outlandishly great. Everything, you got the Zach Greinke's, the Sean Markhams, and Vani Gallardo starting the first game, and the shutdown at the end with Axford and K-Rod. But there's just a lot of just offensive talent on this team. Ryan Braun could have been the batting champion. Prince Fielder, Ricky Weeks, all this stuff. You could go on and on. But the biggest thing to me is they're really hard to beat at home. We know from the Cardinals, going in there, they're a tough team to beat at home, and they seem basically unbeatable there. And Diamondbacks have not had that many series in Milwaukee, so I'm going to go with the Brewers, even though I don't want to pick them, but I'm going to pick the Brewers.
Stupid Morgan.
Ugh, God, I hate Nigel Morgan.
It's going to be funny whenever we beat them. But let's go to the other series, the most important series in St. Louis currently, because the Rams aren't doing anything. St. Louis Cardinals versus Philadelphia Phillies. After last night, Carpenter coming out in beast mode just shows this team is finally gelled into one. Even without Matt Holliday for some of the year, even with Wainwright gone, even with Furcal gone, it just shows that when you need guys to step up, they will in this team. We had Alan Craig step up. We had David Freese actually become something. We've had
Nick Punto. Jesus.
Exactly. Nick Punto. We had Skip. We had Yachty. We had Pujols. We had Berkman. We've had John Jay. We've had Edwin Jackson. We have everybody. And Jason Mott finally stepped up in that bullpen because we have no closer. So I'm picking the Cardinals to win this. I know everyone's going to be like, oh, hometown bandwagoner. If you look at this team,
look at the season series, people.
We beat Phillies last week, 3 out of 4. Even though we faced Holiday, and we didn't have we faced Roy Halladay, even though we had didn't have Matt Holliday. No. That just shows how good this team is. Oh, we didn't play our starters. Well, that's your own fault.
No.
We're so sky high right now, and I'm not trying to get big-headed right here because I'm a diehard Cardinal fan, like I said. But we faced them before. We'll face them again. Let's go. we're facing Roy Halladay. Let's beat him in this
Just
game.
amazing to see Chris Carpenter last night, my favorite pitcher in the world, just to show his determination. He's the most intense guy you can throw out there, and when you need it, he did it. Throwing a 2-hitter, 11 strikeouts for the last game that we needed it the most. Kind of was thinking the whole entire time seeing the Braves when I'm like, man, I wish we had him tomorrow, or that we needed to play that extra game to get into the playoffs. But finally closing that out, seeing the Braves fall. This Cardinals team has really just gone through a lot this season. It just shows they build so much character in this team. With the Wainwright injury at the beginning of the year, just can be so depressing to a team that, with his ability, could be one of the best pitchers, is one of the best pitchers in the world in Wainwright. With everybody coming together, all the guys that have stepped up. Alan Craig, who I hope becomes probably a household name in this playoffs if Matt Holliday can't produce, because, Matt Holliday, even before his kind of injury, wasn't really playing too well, had a lot of freak injuries and stuff like that. Alan Craig really stepping up and just looking like a beast right now. And just everybody else. Once we get, if Albert Pujols plays to the Albert Pujols capability, we are the best player in the world. He is the best player in the world. So, you got that. You got the Yadier Molina, who is, playoff tested in there. Lance Berkman, who's just come onto the scene and just had an amazing comeback year this year. All the, it's like a typical Cardinals team. All the, no-name players come up and, produce. And they're the guys that could come in there. Daniel Descalzo, he could come in there and have a big hit in one of these games. Chambers, the young guy, came in here. He could have some big, he could steal a base, something like that. There could be things that could go on here. I am going to pick the Cardinals. Well, I know he's going to, like he said, we're going to be looking like a homer here. But all I got to say is look at the season series. I know you could say that maybe it wasn't important coming down there. The Phillies weren't really, looking too great at the end of the year and all this kind of stuff. I could say that, it's not good going into the playoffs and not looking that great towards the end of the year. But I got the Cardinals winning this one. It would be amazing to see them get this, and hopefully they could get one of those games in the first two in Philadelphia and come back to St. Louis and get the win here. But I'm going with the Cardinals.
And it's also, like Jman said, all the pieces just finally fell into place. And we also didn't have our pitching coach, Dave Duncan, one of the best pitching coaches in the game today.
Oh, yeah.
That wraps us up for the divisional series. We'll come back to the championship series, even if the Cardinals aren't in it. I may cry a little bit and eat some cookies. But along with J-Man, I'm Quad. Thanks for tuning in. And remember, have a spiffy day, fellas.